Hey guys, and welcome to another video I got as a commission from one of my patrons on my Patreon page. This work will be a mashup between Black Butler aesthetics and characters Levi Ackerman and Erwin Smith from Attack on Titan series. And this is a really complex piece that took me about 4 hours to finish because it had a lot of tiny intricate details, because one of my favorite muses and manga authors is actually Yana Toboso, the author of Black Butler or Kuroshitsuji series. And I got commissioned to dress up Levi and Erwin as Shiel Phantom Hive and Sebastian from Black Butler series. Very specific and very detailed commission. I was commissioned to actually do specific designs from the series and art books for them, and to put them in specific poses but still make them remain as true to their original characters as possible. And I also had a task to decorate the surroundings on this drawing, just like Toboso Sensei does for her illustrations of her characters. So I had to plan out a lot of details on the characters, but also I had to plan out a lot of details behind them. And I even got commissioned to do detailed flower arrangement decor to frame these characters. So I even went online and looked a bit about flower meanings and flower symbolics for certain flowers, so that I could actually make the flowers tell a story of their own as well. The reason why this took me so many hours to finish is the fact that I had to use my ruler for a lot of things, especially really detailed lines in the background, which had to be completely covered by color. And I just had to use several different types of lines as well. As for the flowers I'm setting up to make a frame, I actually wanted to find flowers that were symbolizing something that Erwin and Levi are constantly fighting for, and that's freedom. So one of the flowers that actually symbolizes happiness and freedom and overcoming a hard period of time and trauma was the flower on Levi's side, which is the lupine flower. Lupine actually means wolf, but it does symbolize winning over a hardship of struggles and just overcoming a hard situation in life. So I wanted to have lupine as one of my flowers. As for other flowers, I decided, well, my friend Brandy, she helped me find a really nicely colored flower called Amaryllis Hyperastrum Charisma. And that flower was meant to be Erwin's flower on this drawing. And it symbolizes success won after a struggle, just like lupine does, and pride, personal freedom, and sometimes even love. So it's up to you to interpret this drawing any way you like it. And as for the lines I used for this drawing, I had to use two different kinds of fine liner. I had to use the one I use all the time, the 0.1 fine liner, and of course I can use it in several ways. If I press it more, I will get a thicker line. If I press it less, I will get a thinner line, and I can use thinner lines for things behind my characters. So always use this trick. Use thicker lines for things that are covering your characters. They're in front of your characters and closer to your eye, and use thinner lines for stuff that is behind the characters. That is why I had to use a 0.05, the thinnest fine liner I could find, to draw out these intricate details, petals, and parts of flowers on lupine, because lupine or lupine, I don't know how you say it in English, it has a lot of tiny details, as well as the Victorian fashion on these two. So it was quite a bit of lace to draw out, quite a bit of tiny roses as well, which are like the part of the costumes themselves for the characters. And of course, the thing I personally dislike the most is drawing with a ruler. This took all of my concentration, just not to mess up, just to make them as even as possible, just not to like cover something with just not to cover anything else with a line I didn't want to cover. And as you can see, I did quite of a complicated job by having a lot of lines, but still you don't want the lines behind the characters to be too thick, because they will eat your character and you won't know where the character ends and the wallpaper begins. So always use thinner lines, believe me, that helps a bunch. As for the black surfaces here, I saved them for last, and I didn't want to overdo them this time because I had a specifically tasked commission, and of course there's the one part of my video that was missing because my camera didn't record it, and that was the part when I was filling in all of the dark gray lines in the background. You will notice that I drew out tiny candles in the background, but the candles had no lines showing where the flame on the candle was ending. I was actually making the flame by just avoiding that surface with my color, just leaving it white, and that's how I managed to create flame for the candle without even drawing it out. That's a simple trick, and yet it is very effective if you want to make special effects. You can even like try to blend around it with a colorless blender, just fade out the area where of the color surrounding the flame. So that's kind of a inverted coloring. As for the colors of the skin, well, that's a regular color I always use. I even think the COPIC itself is called color, skin color or something like that. And everything in this drawing was pretty dark. Every piece of clothing was either gray, dark gray, or dark blue. And I didn't have to use too much of different colors on the characters, but I realized the drawing was too dark and it needed some kind of colorful detail which would make the characters and the drawing look more alive. So that's why I saved the vibrant colors for the background and for the flowers themselves. This must be one of the reasons why the Victorian illustrators and Toboso Sensei also used brightly colored flowers to frame the characters, because if everything was completely dark, the drawing itself wouldn't have that vibrant feeling to it. And of course I used a lot of shades of gray for these two because they had a lot of see-through lace, and for example on Levi's socks we have a see-through lace stocking, well, knee-high stocking, which I had to color in by coloring his leg with skin color, then using 2 shades of gray over it so they would blend together and make it look like it was a see-through lace over his knee, well, over his shin. And of course I used at least 3 shades of gray just for the white pieces of clothing, like the white collars and the white lacy parts. And Erwin himself was wearing a really dark gray model of clothing completely without any specific lines or decorations. So it was really dark at first, but you'll see what I did next with the flowers and just the colored pieces, and I had to make this glass cookie, I don't know, how do you call it? We call it a glass bell because it looks like a bell and it's made of glass to cover food and delicacies when they're served. And I just had to use that to place in Erwin's hand and just make him have that Sebastian feeling to him, but still remaining his own character. And of course the flower behind him is the start of the colorfulness in the drawing. I simply couldn't wait for me to draw out colors, colors on the flowers, and you will see that I used a lot of blending on the flowers themselves because usually when mangakas draw out flowers and animals, they try to go as realistic as possible by blending colors, by using the exact shapes of the creatures and plants, because they were really historically influenced by the Victorian people and their culture, and they always used these kinds of decorations. And that's really, really noticeable in Japanese art and even modern art like manga and comic books. To make the glass bell, or whatever the English name is for this in Erwin's hand, I had to use lighter colors and not fill in the contents of it to make it look more see-through and to make it look more glassy. I only used a gray shade to just make a difference and make it look like it was a shiny glass piece. And they're done. I hope you liked this video and this work, and if you want to support my work, you can always become one of my patrons on my Patreon page. You can find the link for it in the description, and if you want to further be my supporter and learn how to draw manga, you can do it in an easy way through my book Manga Crash course, which is available in English and French languages. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys next time!